Welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving into the absolute ultimate user manual for the most sophisticated, complex machine you will ever own, your own body. You know, the ancient epic of Kumara Sambhavam beautifully points out that every single action, duty, and skill we perform in life happens entirely through our physical form. So it makes total sense that we should know exactly how it works, right?
Look, humanity has literally been trying to troubleshoot this incredible machine for millennia. This guy right here, that is Maharshi Sushruta, widely celebrated as the father of surgery. He was operating in ancient India, and his incredibly deep studies into Ayurveda, which literally translates to the science of life, laid the groundbreaking foundation for the exact medical practices we rely on today.
So to really master the science of life today, we've got a pretty awesome roadmap for this explainer. We'll trace the ancient roots of medicine, break down anatomy versus physiology, check out the body's framework, see exactly how we grow and mature, and then wrap up with some crucial emergency troubleshooting with basic life support. Let's just jump right in.
All right, Section 1, Ancient Roots of Medicine. We're starting exactly where medical science itself kicked off, deep in the ancient Ayurvedic traditions of India.
It's honestly mind-blowing, right? Just think about it. Complex procedures like rhinoplasty, reconstructing a nose, these were being developed centuries ago. Sushruta pulled this off through just incredibly deep observation and a crazy good understanding of herbal medicine. And the wildest part? His documented techniques are basically the foundation for the modified surgeries we still use right now. It's a really beautiful reminder that cutting-edge science and human compassion have literally always gone hand in hand.
Moving on to Section 2, Anatomy versus Physiology. This is all about the what and the how. We're taking that ancient wisdom and using it to understand our own physical mechanics by splitting them into two super important concepts.
So, to really get a handle on the body, you absolutely need both of these lenses. Anatomy, that's the what and the where. Think of it as your physical structure, the bones, the muscles, and exactly where they're located. Physiology, though, is the how and the why. It's how all those systems actually run to keep you alive. Actually, let's try something. Right now, wherever you are, just straighten your legs and squeeze your thigh muscles. Okay, that physical structure you're squeezing, that's anatomy. But that tension you feel, the heat that's generating from doing that, that is your physiology in action.
Okay, Section 3, the body's framework. This is our structural hardware, so let's dive into the actual nuts and bolts that keep us upright and moving around, our skeleton. Now, our skeleton is built from connective tissue that is, get this, literally stronger than steel weight for weight. There's no way you'd guess that, right? It's organized into four main classes. First up, we've got long bones, like your humerus or femur. These are basically tubular levers for movement. Second are short bones. These are kind of cuboidal, like the tiny carpals in your wrists. Third, flat bones, like your shoulder blades. They're thin, mostly to protect your internal organs. And finally, irregular bones. Think of the vertebrae in your spine. They have these really complex shapes to guard delicate stuff like your spinal cord.
And it's easy to think of bones as just, dead rocks inside of us, but they are highly, highly active. They are constantly repairing and rebuilding. Just look at the difference here. On the left, you've got this dense, healthy bone matrix. On the right, a frail structure with low bone density. The really crucial takeaway for us here is that your daily lifestyle choices, what you eat, how much you move, directly dictate whether you hit your genetic peak bone mass or if you end up dealing with things like osteoporosis down the line. But, hey, bones alone aren't going to cut it. We also rely heavily on cartilage. Think of cartilage as the body's built-in shock absorber, or like biological Teflon. It's this tough, flexible tissue capping the ends of our bones, and it does a massive job minimizing friction. It literally stops our bone hinges from just grinding together every time we run or jump. Without it, every single movement would be unbelievably painful. All right, Section 4, Growth, Development, and Maturation. Upgrading the body. Because just like any high-tech system, our bodies go through some seriously complex, programmed upgrades over their lifespan. Now, we toss these terms around interchangeably all the time, right? But separating them really clarifies our biological timeline. Growth is strictly quantitative. It just means getting physically bigger in size, height, or weight. Development, on the other hand, is qualitative. It's the leveling up of your functions, your behavioral skills, your cognitive abilities. And maturation, that's purely biological. It's your internal clock ticking away toward full functional capacity, like, going through puberty. And here's where it gets really fascinating, because genetics do not act alone. Not even close. A massive array of external factors completely dictates how successfully our bodies pull off those upgrades. Environmental factors, like heavy pollution, can literally stunt physical growth. Psychological stuff, like chronic emotional stress, that can actually drop your growth hormone levels. Even this socioeconomic domain, meaning your access to good food and healthcare, can drastically alter your physical size and how fast you mature. Basically, this ultimate user manual is heavily shaped by the environment it's operating in.
Which brings us to Section 5, Emergency Troubleshooting and BLS. Because, well, we really need to know what to do when the machine suddenly shuts down and critical systems fail.
This is where basic life support, or BLS, comes in. Consider this your absolute ultimate emergency troubleshooting skill. BLS is the immediate, hands-on assistance you give to someone whose heart or breathing has just completely stopped. We're talking about performing CPR and using an AED, an automated external defibrillator, if you've got one nearby. The entire goal here? Artificially sustain that person's life until the pros, the medical teams, arrive on the scene.
So, if you ever find yourself in that terrifying situation where someone has suddenly collapsed, executing the DRSABCD action plan step by step is absolutely vital. First, you notice the collapse and immediately check for breathing. Then, you kick off the DRSABCD protocol. This is a brilliant linear sequence designed to do one thing: help you bypass the panic. It keeps you calm and guides you straight through to performing CPR and using an AED. It's literally a step-by-step guide to saving a life.
Well, we have come full circle in today's explainer. We went from the ancient, groundbreaking insights of Maharishi Sushruta, who saw medicine as the profound science of life, all the way to the literal nuts and bolts of our bones, our cartilage, and life-saving emergency protocols. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought, just to spark your curiosity a bit. Now that you've got a much clearer grasp of the incredible anatomy and physiology keeping you alive every second, how will you use this user manual to better respect and maybe even optimize your own physical machine today?